very much.
You've got sons, haven't you?
I have, yes.
And have they followed your life?
I have 4 sons. The youngest one, I'll never forgive him. He let me down. Dead straight. Never done a day in prison. No, he's a lovely boy. The 3 older ones, yes. They've been in prison, done many years between them.
And you had a lot of support through your life, obviously from your wife, Doreen. She was obviously very supportive.
Yes, she was, yeah, terrific, very good.
With crime, it mixed a lot with the show business side, didn't it? And what were the kind of famous showbiz names that you mixed with?
Well, I was introduced to Frank Sinatra by Stanley Baker. And showbiz and rascals, thank God for that, there's a affinity between them. There's something there. As one or two of them said to me, to play a gangster in a film, he always gets the credits. He always nicks the film. So they like mixing with him.
In fact, you got on very well with Stanley Baker, didn't you?
Yes, I did, extremely well. Terrific guy, Stan.
In Paris you met, is it Edith Piaf?
I did, Edith Piaf, yeah. The French mafia who were looking after me out there, they introduced me to her.
Also, am I right in thinking that Richard Burton was going to play you in a film once?
He was, yes, that's quite right, yes.
Yeah.
In the palace stands and all, wasn't he?
You were in Durham, I think, with James Hanratty.
Yes, I was,
Yeah.
yes.
And did you think he was innocent?
I do, honestly, yeah. I don't think he had it in him to do anything like that. Though he was doing corrective training there then, at Durham. So I only sort of met him when he was on punishment. Same time I was there and we could have managed to have a little chat. I think he was doing 4 years corrective training. And there's no way on earth could he have killed that woman and that man, no.
Yes, exactly.
I'll put them on one there.
So we're here in the REPTON Boys Club. What sort of memories does this bring back for you here?
Well, the REPTON Boys Boxing Club, it's got to be definitely the most famous one in this country. Its reputation is tremendous. They box all over the world. And everyone who's anyone, you've all boxed here, all kids. Reggie, Ronnie, everyone. And this is where you learn the trade, I'm happy to say.
And tell us about your relationship with the Krays.
Well, Ronnie and Reggie, I'd known them since they were very small, because I knew their father first. And I can only speak highly of them. I thought they were two terrific guys.
Did you have a particular favourite? I mean, did you prefer Ronnie to Reg, or were they very different?
Well, out of the two, I liked Ronnie better, only because he was so honest. If he liked you, he told you. And if he never, he'd tell you. He was so honest, and that. Though Reggie was a terrific guy and all, but out of the two, I thought Ronnie was even better.
They say that the East End was a safer place when they were around. Is that actually true? Were they good to the public?
Definitely very good to the public. Go round here, and the older people who knew them or remembered them worship them, and quite rightly. Anyone who was behind with their rent, or market stall holders behind couldn't pay them, they'd pay it for them, without making a big fuss about it, wouldn't boast about it, would quietly do it. Women and children absolutely worshipped them, and quite rightly.
But there was a sort of an altercation between the Richardsons and the Krays. Tell us about that sort of difference between the two. Were you rivals?
No, that's not true. Charlie was in Shepton Mallet Army prison with Ronnie and Reggie, so he knew them well. And they most probably may have been a little bit jealous of Charlie and Eddie, because they were very intelligent businessmen, very good. Eddie had never been to prison in his life. Charlie had only been to prison once for 6 months. They were two very astute and very able businessmen. And they might have been a little bit jealous of their go-ahead way like that, but not nasty jealous, just that ordinary bit.
What about Charlie Kray? What did you think about him?
Oh, he was such a lovely man, Charlie Kray. I thought he was the best boxer out of the three of them, but he didn't have their heart. He wasn't a coward, Charlie, but they had bundles of heart. And if he'd have had their extra quality of heart, nothing would have stopped him. As a boxer, he was brilliant.
And was he innocent of that drug deal?
Charlie Kray, his last sentence was 12 years for a drug deal. He thought they were people who just wanted to go out for a drink with him, and at the end of the night, they would give him 200 or 300 or 500 quid or whatever. And he's had a pleasant evening with them, and they just wanted to be with someone called the Krays. And when they said, can you get us a load of Charlie? If they'd have said, can you get us a load of gold? He'd have said yes, thinking that's the end of it, was what they wanted to hear. He never dreamt they were two undercover cops. Never entered his head. And even if he had known, he'd have still said it, because he's doing nothing wrong, he's just saying whatever. He never dreamt for one moment. My heart really bled for him.
And now the Krays have gone, would you say that you are the sort of last sort of link to that era, or have you sort of taken their place in the public's eye?
In many ways now, unfortunately, the Krays have gone. Ronnie, Reggie, Charlie. I suppose in many ways I am a link that links us all together. And I suppose in the public eyes, they're making me sort of an icon about it all as well. As long as I go down as the best dentist, I don't mind.
And what were the events of that night at the blind day, shooting?
On the day where George Cornell got shot dead, a man called Jimmy Andrews, lovely man Jim, who knocked the governor and the chief out with me at Exeter Prison in 1959. He had been shot in the leg, and it turned to cancer and eventually died. But George Cornell and Albie Woods, who got nicked with my sister Eva, had been to visit him. And on their way back, instead of going over London Bridge, Blackfriars Bridge, any of them bridges, this story that you're going to hear now wouldn't have happened. They decided to go over Tower Bridge. Because Jimmy Andrews come from North London, and he was in a North London hospital being treated for leg wounds. And on their way towards Tower Bridge, George said, "Oh, look, Elby, there's the blind beggar," because he lived there, literally, round the corner. He said, "Let's go in there for a drink. I ain't been in there for years." Parked the car. The traffic wardens then wasn't so severe as they are now. In they went. Someone phoned up Ronnie. Away he come. We're at the bar, and as he come in, George said, "Look who's here." Ronnie, bang, shot him dead. Elby was terrific. He took the glasses away so there'd be no fingerprints. 5 months later, they nicked Ronnie and Reggie, put an identification parade. And Elby Woods really was the only witness. Along he come, no. And at the end, there were 2 plainclothes policemen, separate from it. He said, "That's them two. They're the ones who done it." They went, "Ooh." They let Ronnie and Reggie go. 21 months later, or 20 months later, Nipper Reid had got into a barmaid who wasn't even on duty then. And she swore blind she see Ronnie shoot him. He then was doing that sentence with my sister when the guy who the team was supposed to pull out said that he would give him £1,000 to change his evidence. And Elby Woods was Nick McVie when they both got 3 years each. And therefore he wasn't out to be able to give evidence from him.
And you went to see Reg just before he passed away?
Yes, I did, yes.
What was that like?
It was very strange, really, because the guy who took me, he wouldn't come up with me because he had never knew Reg before and he thought it wasn't right. So I went up on the 5th floor, where he was at the time, and Bradley Allardyce come out of a room and said, "Frank, it's a miracle. Reggie's just sent me out to phone you to come up and visit him. I can't believe it. I think you come by helicopter." And when I went in the room, I went da-da-da, like a magician. He collapsed with laughter, Reg, and then said, "What a lovely man." He said, "How did you get here, Frank?" I told him about my mate Vince. "Why didn't he come up?" I said, "He'd never met you, Reg. He thought it might be not right in the circumstances coming up." He said, "Well, it's good of him thinking like that, Frank. Would you please go down and fetch him up so I can thank him?" I said, "Certainly." I went down, he's sitting in his car in the car park, brought him up, he shook his hand and that and thanked him. What a lovely gesture.
And did you think that they obviously should have let him out before? Was that a deliberate act to wait till he was dying?
Well, once Jack Straw made him a free man, you knew Reggie was dying. And it'd be only a matter of days or weeks at the most. And that proved true. When they could have let him out 20 years beforehand, easily.